Hey everybody, Kenny here. I haven't posted a video in a while, so I figured I'd catch everybody up on my travels. Later this year, I'm going to be starting a beer travel show, hitchhiking to breweries with a buddy of mine, and just got me thinking about video a little bit more, so I'm back. Also, I have a podcast that I do update and have been updating regularly, at least once a month, if not more. That's called the Freestyle Travel Show. So check that out. There's a YouTube channel, but also it's everywhere podcasts are found, so Apple, Stitcher, Google Music. And I'm regularly telling my stories, saying what's up. But I figured to catch it all up here in 2019, because it's been a busy year. Been all over the place, starting in Africa, in Morocco. That's where I was for New Year's Eve. I had flown over via Spain to get there, and caught a cheap Ryanair flight for like, what was it, $5 or $8 or something like that. Got me down to Morocco, hitchhiked around there, and then I popped back up to Europe just for a little bit. Went and saw a buddy in the Netherlands. Caught another cheap Ryanair flight over to Cyprus, where my grandma lives. I was checking that out. Cyprus is just beautiful. The scenery there was amazing, and it was really mellow. Hung out there for a couple weeks before catching another Ryanair flight to Israel. That's where I went to. Israel, hitchhiking is real easy over there. It's also very beautiful there too. That was great. I hitchhiked over the border from Israel to Egypt, which was a disaster. Definitely suggest you listen to the podcast on that one, because it is a long story. I ended up getting detained by police for over a week. I was there for 2 weeks. The first week was hit or miss, bouncing around. And then, the last week I was just in various forms of jail, just for trying to hitchhike. Like I said, it's a crazy long story. I think the podcast episode itself is an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's called Held Captive in Egypt. Check that out on the Freestyle Travel Show if you really want to hear what happened there, because it's pretty ridiculous. But I did manage to escape from there. We'll get deported, I guess. Whatever happened, I got a flight out of there. I literally got taken to the airport by authorities after the week in there. But I made it out. And after a layover in Kenya, I got down to South Africa, where I was able to let people know I was alright. And South Africa was amazing. I went to the Drakensberg Mountains. I saw baboons running across a ridge close to me. Beautiful sights. And eventually got to Cape Town, where I was cat sitting for a friend of a friend. And the main purpose of that cat sitting was to finish writing my book, a 6-pack of hitchhiking stories, which you can find on Amazon. And there's a podcast of me talking about that too. It's basically just 6 short stories that involve hitchhiking and beer, which a lot of my stories do. So it's the first book I put out, so check that out. And that's what I was able to mostly finish in Cape Town. Finish the rest in California, which I'll get to here. But I left Cape Town and went up to Europe again. Again, it was cheaper to get back to the United States via Europe, so I got a cheap flight to Germany or something, and then immediately hitchhiked to the airport. Saw a friend in the Netherlands, and then hitchhiked all the way down to Spain, because that was the cheapest flight back to the States. Madrid to Boston. It's like $100 or something. So that was May, and then I got to Boston, New York, eventually made my way out to Wyoming. Saw some family out there, and made my way to Sacramento, where I finished writing the book. So my good friend out there in Sacramento, who's been on this channel before, Aaron, I house sat for him while he was away for, I think it was a week or 2 weeks, and finished writing the book, published the book, again, a 6-pack of hitchhiking stories. I'll put a link in the description, or you can just search Amazon for it. Really glad that I finished that up. And then, I just hitchhiked down California. I had a friend in San Diego who just moved to New Orleans, and she had a Jeep that she needed someone to drive, and I was that somebody. So instead of hitchhiking, I had a Jeep. She gave me the gas money. It was a win-win for both of us. And I drove it all across. Stopped in Phoenix. I stopped in Albuquerque. I saw this girl, Liz Stewart, there, which I did a podcast with. She hosted this, or she was supposed to host this marijuana march in Mobile, Alabama. That's kind of the context I met her, and it didn't go through and turned into a disaster, and it's a whole story. You can listen to that podcast as well with her. But I saw her in Albuquerque, Got a speeding ticket in Texas because I like to pass people when I'm driving. So often hitchhiking. It's fun to be driving sometimes. And got down to New Orleans, saw some friends, got to Biloxi where I was making some BivyPacks. Yet another thing you can check out, freestyletravelgear.com. You can still buy a BivyPack. It's a backpack I have that turns into a tent. Still some of those for sale, and Biloxi is where I try to make them whenever I stop through. And I did a big hitchhiking loop from Biloxi over to North Carolina via Georgia, seeing some friends, seeing some family, cutting back through Nashville, beer country, all the way up through Indianapolis, Michigan, more friends, more stuff, more beer. Back down through Indianapolis, back through Nashville, ate some hot chicken, which was delicious. Oh, I love hot chicken. If you're ever in Nashville, check out Hattie B's or Prince's. Those are the best. Did that, got back down to Biloxi where my friends were back. Because when I was there earlier, as I mentioned, they were not here. So I just wanted to come back and actually see them. So made some more backpacks, more BivyPacks, and then this idea for a beer travel show really started coming to fruition with a friend of mine who's been in the film industry for a while. And for years, if not a decade, we've been talking about filming something around like hitchhiking and travel, and it all started coming together. So we're going to do this show starting this winter where he's going to follow me with a camera, we're going to have some sound equipment, and we're just going to hitchhike to breweries. He's never hitchhiked before or traveled like this, so it's going to be an adventure for him too. Yeah, checking out breweries, brewing beer on the go. I discovered this new yeast from Scandinavia, basically, where it's a lot more forgiving than other yeasts. I can ferment beer in my backpack. We're going to do that, try that, film that. So pretty excited about that, and that's what's happening next. But yeah, I'll do another video on that this week because we're starting a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for the camera and his travel and microphones and editing, all that stuff. But that'll kick off right between Christmas and New Year's is when we'll start filming that. So yeah, I think that pretty well catches you up. Like I said, Freestyle Travel Show is a podcast that y'all should definitely check out because I update that all the time. But I am going to keep these videos rolling along, be a little bit more regular with them because it's fun. People dig it. I dig it. So that's that. Happy days. I'll see you guys down the road.